Hello and welcome to Conquering Mt Scrapmore with Brenda. Today we have Nancy Sanders from Simply Quilting with Nancy Sanders on board today to get to introduce her to my viewers, and we're going to have a little fun chat. So, Nancy, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing great, Brenda. How are you?
Good, good, good. It's I've been looking forward to this chat for a while. Life gets busy with us YouTubers, and you run from one thing to the next, and if it's not in my phone, it never happens. And it was kind of like I always wanted to do this with you, and we're finally getting around to it. Yay! I'm
And
so
I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Jan, let's start with some pretty basic stuff. Why did you start to quilt? I mean, that's what people want to know. Why did you start to quilt?
Well, I've always been a crafter, and I've a clothing person, and made a few quilts through the years. But uh, after I retired, there was a lady in my church who was an avid quilter, and she started a quilting group about 6 years ago in our church. And I just fell in love with She's a Long Armor and all of the rest. And um, several of us ladies just really fell in love with quilting, and I mean the rest is history.
That's right. I mean, isn't that neat? Neat. So you didn't know how to quilt until you joined that group, and she taught you?
Not really. I had made a few little baby quilts and things like that, but just on my own knowledge, I didn't even know how to use a rotary cutter or anything like that.
Yeah, it's changed. Quilting, the rotary cutters have changed the face of quilting from our grandmothers and our Mother's Day for sure. I mean, I remember my mom showing my one of both of my grandmothers this rotary cutter and this little tiny mat that she had paid an arm and a leg for that I still have. And my grandmothers were just just in shock for it.
I mean, I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea what a cutting mat was. I just used scissors when I sewed.
That's how I learned. The scissors, drawing it with a pencil, a pencil and around a template. Yeah, there you go. There's your pattern. So yeah, I remember that. So
Yeah, she really introduced me to a lot of things, and then she even convinced me to start long arming. So I owe her gratitude for that.
isn't it wonderful when you have like mentors like that are just so passionate and they kind of take you under their wing and they teach you as much as they can? Isn't that it's just awesome feeling, isn't it? Yeah. So why did you start your YouTube channel? Because I mean, we all love quilting, but why did you start the YouTube channel? Because that puts your fun hobby in the spotlight. Like, why did you start? What was your motivation for starting?
While I was learning under this lady in my church, I was also looking on YouTube to find ideas, and I mean, I was just so hungry to get into it that I was watching everybody that I could find that could teach me something.
Yeah.
And once I got to where I felt like I was pretty well grounded, I thought, well, I can share a little bit of my knowledge with maybe some beginners, like others have shared with me. And that was when I thought, well, I'll start a YouTube channel. And, it may not be the most famous one in the world, but maybe someone will learn something from me like I learned from others.
Yeah, because there's lots of amazing YouTubers out there right now that are talking about our passion, quilting. I mean, yeah, there's lots of information out there too. And I think sometimes too, the different ways you know how to do things, the more
Mm-hmm.
you become quicker, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we both know there's more than one way of making a half square triangle, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's several actually. And some of the, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool how many different ways there are to do things, and yeah, it all works. Yeah, but
Exactly.
that's awesome. So, what is up and coming on your channel? You're going to give us a little sneak peek about what's going to happen on your channel, or
Well, I started, as you know, everybody has scraps. Everybody that quilts has scraps. So I came up with the idea this year in 2024 to try and make a scrappy quilt every month, um, using only scraps and a little bit of background, and of course backing.
Yeah.
But trying to go through those scraps and do something useful with them. I made scrappy quilts before, but I haven't ever put myself on a schedule to where I said I'm going to make a scrappy quilt every month.
Yep.
And so I am on my fourth scrappy quilt now. This one you can see behind me with the hearts. That was my February
Okay.
quilt. I have one on the long arm behind me. That was my January scrappy quilt. Let's see, February. Oh, February was the hearts.
Right.
And let's see, March. Oh, this, I did bring this to show, and I have a video on this.
Wow. Very cool.
This is part of my March quilt right here.
Yeah.
And then this is my April that I've just started. I haven't finished my March, but I will. And then this is my April that I just started.
That April is cool. That is really neat.
And all of the blocks on this will be different. But yeah, I've got other projects going for my family and different ones in between, but I'm working on these as much as I can. So my goal is to have 12 scrappy quilts by the end of the year.
And do you know what you're going to do with those scrappy quilts, or you're not sure?
I will be gifting them, or doing charity. I'm not sure which ones,
Yeah.
but I still have quite a few people in my family that I haven't made a quilt for yet.
Oh yeah, lucky you. My friends and family are going, wait a minute.
Well, my grandchildren and children I've made several for, but there's still great nieces and nephews and that
Oh
type of thing.
yeah, I know. I know. It's my daughters and my grandkids, they've got more quilts than, and it's just like they can ever use. And I'm making them now quilts for their hope chest, right? Like for when they're an adult, right? And I'm taking my time making them. So they're like, and of course they know this is coming. And of course I keep telling Les, you have to make the chest. And he's like, me? I'm like, why did I get roped into this? So
Well, I have six grandchildren, and all but two are married. I've made all of them a quilt for their wedding, and I just finished. I've already given it away this weekend to her, but my youngest granddaughter is getting married next month, and I've just finished her quilt and given it to her. Now I have one more grandson, and then they will all have wedding quilts.
oh wow. Very cool. Yeah. Oh, I bet you, yeah, isn't that a lovely gift that you can give away? That's just perfect. Yeah.
Yes, and I try to have a label made. I don't make them myself. I'm not an embroiderer, but I have a friend who does that for me. So
Oh yeah. Then yeah, that is always helpful. I am the worst labeler I ever. Like that is my crime. My quilting crime is I hate making labels. I used to have a machine that would put write words out, and I would put it just in the corner as to, made by Brenda Logan and then the year. And that was, for me, that was enough. But yeah, apparently.
I've done that too. I have a little brother embroiderer, but I don't really know that much about it. But I have made little tiny labels to put, just to stick in there. But I like to make have a nice big one made for the wedding quilt. So
Yes, that's all in a, yeah, you're marking a very special occasion in their life. So yeah, that's really cool.
it's a lot of fun.
Now, or let's see, what is your favorite quilt person? Or do you have more than one that you just can't make up your mind over?
Man, I have so many that I watch. Of course, you're one of my favorites. I watched Donna Jordan a lot when I was first beginning quilting. She had a lot of great ideas.
Did she ever?
I'm sorry.
Yes, does she ever? Yes, she has some lovely ideas.
I watched quilters like Angela Walters and Natalia Bonner to help me with my long arming.
Yeah.
Adria Good, she's really a fantastic quilter. There's just so many. They're just hard to remember all of them right now, but I watch so many that have given me little tips and clues, that I've incorporated into my quilting. So
Yeah, do you have favorite fabric designers or?
not really. I haven't really gotten into using designer fabric that much.
Yeah.
I'm still in kind of the mode of using what I have and what I can get, you know,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
close at hand or order online. But I haven't really gotten into the designer type fabrics. Maybe someday.
I have a few, but you're working with what you got, or you're working with what you're donated, right? I mean, so yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not going to expect your designer, your favorite designer to show up. Yeah, but you're right. Sometimes you gotta work with what you've got on hand.
I do watch like Coriander Quilts, and I watch Sherry and Chelsea and all of
Yeah.
those designers that haven't actually ordered their fabric yet. So
Yeah, I like there's Zen Chic. I like her stuff so much. Brigitte stuff. Oh my gosh, I love all of her stuff, but it's like, okay, yeah, I don't make a lot of modern quilts, right? Like, so, but her stuff is just beautiful too. And
I'm sorry.
I also like Lori Holt as well. I love her.
She's
Stuff lovely. Just
Now, I have bought some of her fabric. I take that back. I bought some of her Christmas fabric and I haven't used it yet.
yeah.
So can't wait to do that.
Yeah, I know. It's really lovely what some of those designers are putting out right now. It's just I have a list as long as my arm of people I love. I don't know why I say I love this or I love that. I love it all, right? So it's kind of, it is what it is, right? Now, if somebody wants to go to your channel, what are they going to expect? What is what kind of videos do you put out?
Well, what I like to do is I like to start a quilt from sometimes the cutting, sometimes I start with the piecing, but I like to start and take them through the end of the quilt, the piecing and then the quilting and the binding and all of that. Of course, I can't do that in one video, so sometimes I have 2 or 3 or 4 parts to it. But I think I am going to try to start getting in. I do have a few tutorials, like how to do traditional blocks like the churn dash and things like that. I like to, when we go off in our camper, I like to take my little sewing machine and make blocks.
Yes.
We do that a couple of times a year and stay for a week or two somewhere. And I have my little brother machine and I just like to make blocks. And sometimes I'll put those on there.
Yeah.
I do have some of my long arm quilting is on my videos as well.
Yeah, that's always good to show them from start to finish. I know I tend to do more block tutorials as and then I have a stack of, orphan blocks. It's like, well, you got to make something now. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I loved when you had those big rolls of all your, I don't know if they were orphan blocks or what, but you had scrappy, and you had them in big rolls and you made twin size quilts out of them for charity. That
all of those went off to charity. Every one of those went to charity. And it was like all of the orphan blocks went, and yeah, it was ridiculous how many orphan block quilts we photographed. We lost track at 60 or 80, something like that. And the lady that I gave them to for the community service people, because we had so much demand that year in Alberta for wildfire victims and the Ukrainian refugees escaping the war, and sleep in heavenly peace, and all these things. And then of course you got the regular domestic violence, Ronald McDonald House and all those other charities you're trying to help out too. And it's like, yeah, it was a lot. There were a lot of quilts that we had to make. And she said she lost track at 100. she gave up. She gave up counting them, that the ones I had given her. But then they turned around and she's amazing. She got all the long armors and within driving distance to help out, to pump out quilts, and we got some beautiful quilts were made. It was just amazing how everybody pulled together to get us through that really rough summer last year. It was amazing, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
One of the things that our quilting group at church does is we make quilts and then we auction them off or sell them for missions.
Yes, that's
Raise for our missionaries that
yeah.
different places around the world, um, and then that really has been our charity, our main charity thing that we do.
Yeah. So when you're talking about doing your videos from beginning to end, like doing the, the cutting and all of, all the different steps of sewing the blocks together, the quilt top together and all this, like, so how many videos, like a week, let's say, would your channel be putting out? Would they be watching you make this quilt from beginning to end? Or would they watch like once a week, you would, update them and show them how far you are, or like,
Most of the time, I'm only putting 1 to 2 videos a week out, and they're usually around 20 to 30 minutes long. I don't do the whole, the whole shebang. Uh, like I'll show putting the blocks together, and then I'll show a little bit of the quilting, and then I'll show a little bit of the binding. Try to keep it in 2 to 3 videos.
oh yeah.
Because I don't want people to say, oh, well, I've already seen this, move on,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I do, 1 to 2 videos a week. I love to do more, but at this point I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, it's pretty demanding. I know, like with myself, we're putting out what, 3 videos a week because I've got my hair done, my makeup's on, I'm dressed, but and we film 3, but it's like, yeah, it's there's a lot going on when you're doing 3 videos a week, but it's what managing what you can manage, yeah, is important. That's great. That's a good point. So what kind of artist, fiber artist, would you call yourself? Would you call yourself modern, traditional, scrappy? Like
I think I would call my probably not modern though.
more what would you call yourself? I missed that. Sorry.
Sort of eclectic, kind of all encompassing. I guess more traditional than anything else.
Yeah, more
But
traditional.
I do like to create my own things as well. For instance, I'm making this for my daughter. It's a jar quilt.
Oh my gosh, is that ever cute? Oh my.
But it's got the big gallon type jars, and I just kind of made it my own pattern from looking at the smaller ones that other people have made.
Yes.
But yeah, I like to be creative. I like to do things that I haven't seen other people do, or maybe take theirs and change them up a little bit.
Yeah, make it your own. That's right. That's yeah, that's very cool. So now you're on YouTube as well, right? And where or what do you want your channel to be in 2 years' time? Like what is your long-term plan for your YouTube channel?
Well, I would just like for it to keep growing steadily. I'm not looking to become a famous quilter overnight or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to become a millionaire through YouTube. I'm looking to give people ideas and share this journey. That's basically what I'm after. I just want to have fun, and if YouTube wants to pay me a little bit for advertising, that's fine with me, but that's not my pursuit.
Yes.
I had a career, and so I'm not I'm not in dire straits or anything like that in poverty. God has really blessed me, but I do want to bless others
Yeah.
in this.
And isn't it an amazing journey? I mean, I can't, like, of all the people that I have met because I've become a YouTuber, it's just, it floors me. Like, if I would never have stepped out onto a platform like YouTube, I'm just amazed at the people I've met through that. I was like, wow. And some of the very, very talented people like yourself, and it's just like, yeah, it's really cool. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I love it. I think about it day and night. You know.
And we both are doing free stuff, right? That's the thing. We're having fun and we're doing free, right? I know some business admin profs that are probably rolling in their grave right now, but I mean, yeah, we're doing it for free and we're having a good time doing it. So, yeah, it's all fun.
Like you said, there's no competitiveness. At least in I don't, I don't have any desire to outdo anyone else.
No, yeah, that's true. It's just, everybody's journey is a little different. And
Mhm.
like I say, you never know what will happen either on YouTube. So I mean, this is kind of it's interesting that I mean, I have people watching videos that I first put out years ago, like a couple of years ago, and it's like, okay, all right, but it's good. It's all good. Now, this is actually one of my favorite questions to ask anybody who quilts. What is your favorite tool?
My favorite tool. Oh, there are so many. I really, of course, I use AccuQuilt a lot, and I depend on that quite heavily um, when I can, when I'm making something that it will fit with. But I also have the Stripology ruler, and I really like that for cutting with.
Oh,
Um, it really saves me a lot of time, and I don't know, it just seems like it makes it easier for me.
yeah,
I guess I would do that.
you're talking about GE Designs, the Stripology ruler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, looks something like this. So, and you just cut in between the lines to get your strips cut, and it just makes it so much faster.
Yeah, I just recently acquired myself. I just recently acquired a used AccuCut quilt cutter and some of the dies that my friend had. She's trying to downsize her sewing room and sewing stash and everything. And so I mean I was able to, pick that up at a very, very good price. She asked for this much, I gave her that much. There was no bargaining or arguing or nothing. It was just okay, that's how much you want, fine.
Hmm.
I have I've kind of wanted one, but I didn't know what I would do with it. So it's going to be interesting for me to find out how well I can manage my scraps with it. So I'm kind of excited about it, but
I a lot of times I'll just take my scraps and cut them up into those shapes, that are in there, and then just put them in a tub and save them for when I just want to play or experiment and make a
yeah,
block.
yeah, and I like the fact like on their triangles, their little dog ears are already cut off.
That's really handy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time saver.
So I would say my cutting tools are probably my favorite thing.
Your cutting tools, you know what mine are? And I've said this before. Stitch ripper.
Oh, you
Oh,
gotta have
the day I put this in my hand, but a stitch ripper works. Yes, that's perfect tool for me. It's like the eraser.
not my favorite thing to do though.
Yeah, no. But well, everybody would like to think that they would go on an entire week without it ever seeing their stitch ripper. But yeah, you know, it is what it is, and it's a good thing I know how to use it. So that's kind
That's
of
a good point, Brenda.
yeah. So what? Let's see. What has your quilt show experience been? Do you have any experiences with a quilt show or
Very, very little. The only experience I have with the quilt show was when we had like several churches in our district would get together and do we'd call it it's fall, y'all, in the fall, and we would have different crafts set up and snacks and devotions and that kind of thing. And I have won some first place little ribbons at those with my quilts.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's it. And I've been to one real quilt show, and that was the Dallas one. And I was just overwhelmed at all the things that were there. So, like
Yeah,
I said,
I heard the Dallas one is big. It's really big. Yes.
it it was really big.
What is it? Is now Dallas, is it bigger than the Houston show or is it?
No, no, not from my understanding. I think the Houston one is bigger.
Oh, yeah. We had what was it? QuiltCon is coming next year to Phoenix, Arizona, and we're already making plans to go. And I'm like, this is going to be a very overwhelming experience for me.
Yeah, I heard that.
I
I
don't
heard
like
about
traffic in Phoenix to begin with. Never mind, we're going to a quilt show.
that. I've
But
lived in Phoenix before, and yeah, it's quite an experience to get around up there.
yeah, it is. It is. Now, what is your most memorable moment, whether it be sad or happy, in quilting? What was your most memorable thing that you've got? What would you like to share with us about your most memorable moment?
Um, there are so many. I guess the thing that impacted me the most was when my at my first quilt, well, actually my second quilt, our teacher had us make a mystery quilt, and I got so frustrated making that because I couldn't figure out what it was going to look like, and I had only made one little lap size quilt before that, and it was a disappearing nine patch, which was, she walked us through that. But this one, she just gave us, okay, you're going to do this week and this next week and this. And I could not figure out for the life of me how it was all going to come together. But when it finally did, I was like, aha, I had that aha moment. And I was like, yeah, I can really do this. I can do this stuff. So that was pretty awesome for me.
Yeah, those mystery quilts sometimes are so much fun to do. They're, you never know what you don't know what they're gonna look like, right? You
Yeah.
have an idea of, okay, we get this clue and then we get that clue and then we get this, and those clues don't necessarily fit together at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I, I was just thinking, no, this is never ever going to work, but it did. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, those those ones are so much fun. I tried to do the Bonnie Hunter one, but life here has gotten so busy being a grandma and everything else that it's just I love her patterns and they're super scrappy and they're so much fun, but the mystery quilt sometimes I just haven't got that kind of time commitment, I guess. But I guess I need to organize my time better, but it'll be good. What
Well, I'm not saying I would do that again, but it was a neat experience.
Yeah, I've made a couple of her quilts and they're very interesting. And she is a really good teacher. I will give her that every day of the week. So, what tips do you have for beginners?
For beginners, don't get discouraged. If you mess up, try again, get help, uh, find someone who can help teach you the things that you need to learn, and be patient with yourself.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow, yes.
You know, if you fail, push it aside. It's just fabric. Start over. Do
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah, and yeah, not to be hard on yourself because you messed up is probably the most important thing. We
Mhm.
are our own worst critics sometimes, and it's just I have, yeah, it's just amazing what people will say to themselves. They would never say to another person, but they would say it to themselves. And it's like, why? Yeah, it's just awful.
Don't compare yourself to experienced quilters.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. There's sometimes beginners get into a group of quilters that have got, like 30, 40 years plus quilting, and these people are putting out just amazing quilts. They don't stop to realize that you're only seeing their A list or their A side, right? You're not seeing all the mistakes they've made throughout their life. You're seeing their grand, their grand piece that they've completed where it might have taken them 2 years, right?
Sure,
Or
sure.
longer, or, let's say, somebody's working, shows you a Dear Jane. You, as an experienced quilter, understood how long it took them to make that quilt, but a beginner would go, you knocked that out in a weekend? Oh God. It's like, no, 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 they didn't knock it out in a weekend. It took them years.
Yeah, you definitely have to give yourself a break.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, those are very important tips for beginners. Yeah. And any last words of encouragement?
Hmm.
Yeah, do you have any last words of encouragement for people that are watching this right now?
Yeah. So you may not feel like you're very talented, but it doesn't always take talent. Sometimes it's just perseverance and creativity. You may have it in your mind, but you think I can think of it, but I can't do it. But you can do it. Just don't give up on yourself.
Yeah, practice and patience. Yeah. Yep, very much so. Very much so. Well, Nancy, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad you agreed to come and, chat with me about what your experiences have been. And it's just been wonderful today. So we're going to say goodbye now, everybody. Okay, you guys take care until we meet again. Bye.
Brenda.